Well, hello and good evening. We are reading through the Bible through the year, and tonight we are reading Genesis chapter 4, 5, and 6. And so I know we have a lot to get through today, so let's get started. Genesis chapter 4. Now Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have acquired a man from the Lord. Then she bore again, this time his brother Abel. Now Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time it came to pass that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to the Lord. Abel also brought the firstborn of his flock and of their fat. And the Lord respected Abel and his offering, but he did not respect Cain and his offering. And Cain was very angry, and his countenance fell. So the Lord said to Cain, Why are you angry? And why has your countenance fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin lies at the door, and its desire is for you, but you should rule over it. So I just want to show you, I kind of highlighted that. There's 2 pages here at the bottom there. I highlighted that because honestly, most of the time we get mad at God, we get mad at different people who have success for things, and we get very angry. And I know for me, a lot of times it's the same answer that God's giving Cain. Why are you angry that someone else did well? If you did what you were supposed to do, if you followed through the rules, if you did extra, if you did what they did, would you not be accepted? And it's not even legitimately just doing what they did in the sense of the physical act, like planting seeds, but some people might be mad that someone has more connections. And the question is, if you are friendly and you talk with people and you get to know them and you get to know what's important to them, and you try to suss out who is important and what's going on there. If you do what other people are doing, you will have what they have. And if you're reading a bunch of self-help books, a lot of times those millionaires, billionaires are going to say the basically same thing. Hey, find out what someone else is doing and then do it. Do what they're doing, copy it, mimic it, so we can be a part of that. And I think many times we have to remember that particular thing. If we do what we're supposed to do, what we not get what we want to get. So there's that one piece that's there. Let's keep reading. Verse 8. Now Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass that when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, Where is your brother Abel? And he said, I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, he, meaning God, said, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. So now you are cursed from the earth. Now you are cursed from the earth, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you till the ground, it shall no longer yield its strength to you. A fugitive and a vagabond you shall be on the earth. And Cain said to the Lord, My punishment is greater than I can bear. Surely you have driven me out this day from the face of the ground, and I shall be hidden from your face. I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond on the earth, and it will happen that anyone who finds me will kill me. And the Lord said to him, Therefore whoever kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark on Cain, lest anyone finding him should kill him. It's really funny here that God's basically saying, hey, because of this, because of what you have done, you're not a farmer anymore. What you have known to be a livelihood, you can't use as your livelihood anymore. And then Cain basically cries and says, oh, this is the worst thing ever. And so then God says, you know what? You're right. It is too harsh. People are going to try to kill you, even though you killed your brother. Instead, if anyone tries to kill you, I will take vengeance on them. Which also leads me to believe that trying to take vengeance, trying to go after anybody, even if they quote unquote deserve it. Sorry, I'm looking for my highlighter here, which I don't think I have. I think I forgot that. Even if they deserve it, it doesn't matter. that vengeance is the Lord, that the Lord will repay whatever it is. And we actually see this kind of in David as we jump forward. David does not take vengeance on Saul, even though we would think it's his right to. He actually waits for the Lord to do what the Lord wants to do and make the Lord takes it up and do what he needs to do with that. He doesn't take it for himself. Yep, I don't have my highlighter. That's annoying. Hold on, I'll use a pen. So that's kind of also very important as well, is that he even talks about that and doesn't want anyone to take vengeance on Cain. And then, yeah, I thought that was cool. Verse 16. Then Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. To Enoch was born Irad. Irad begot Mehujael. Mehujael begot Methuselah. And Methuselah begot Lamech. Then Lamech took for himself 2 wives. First time we see multiple wives being taken. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the second was Zillah. And Ada bore Jabal, who was the father of those who dwell in tents and have livestock. His brother's name was Jubal, which was he was the father of all those who play the harp and flute. And as for Zillah, she also bore Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every craftsman in bronze and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. The Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice, wives of Lamech, listen to my speech. For I have killed a man for wounding me, even a young man for hurting me. If Cain shall be avenged 7-fold, then Lamech 77-fold. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and named him Seth. For God has appointed another seed for me instead of Abel, whom Cain killed. And as for Seth, to him a son was born, and he named him Enosh. Then men began to call on the name of the Lord. So I find it funny that Lamech wants to be worse than Cain. And the idea that I've heard a couple different times, and I'm going to butcher this idea, but that we can see how the evil is coming upon it, and everyone wants to have the punishment or the power that they perceive that Cain had or that their fathers had. And then this scripture is also a way, if you want to find a way to say that instruments are a bad thing, music is a bad thing, all that stuff is bad, this is a verse that you can point to that, because really it's Cain's descendants that become the father of all those who sing and dance and play harps, and who are craftsmen of any kind. But what I do find really interesting here is that because Cain can't be killed by people for what he has done, he then takes advantage and becomes a builder of cities. He builds places for people to be at and walls to keep people safe and to keep things in and to keep other bad things out. Which also shows that no matter what has happened, good, bad, whether you believe in Christ or not, God can still use you to spread what he wants to spread. And you can still turn any situation for your better. You can make any situation better. You just have to pivot and shift how you think, because Cain was a farmer his entire life. And he shifted from being a farmer to now building cities, which they seem very much unlike anything else. But it takes dedication and a skill to be able to do that. So I find that interesting here. And then it wasn't until this last verse 26, that men began to call on the name of the Lord. That means men began to pray. They began to reach out to God. So up until this, multiple generations have happened, or it wasn't until Enosh that really men began to actually call on God and reach out to him and want him to speak. It wasn't from the beginning. It wasn't since they got pushed out. It was here that men began to actually reach out to God, to call upon his name. Verse 5, we're in chapter 5, verse 1. This is the book of the genealogy of Adam. And the day that God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. He created them male and female and blessed them and called them mankind in the day they were created. Verse 3. And Adam lived 130 years, and he begot a son in his own likeness, after his image, and named him Seth. After he begot Seth, the days of Adam were 800 years, and he had sons and daughters. So all the days that Adam's lived were 930 years, and he died. Seth lived 105 years and begot Enosh. After he begot Enosh, Seth lived 807 years and had sons and daughters. So all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. Enosh lived 90 years and begot Kenan. After he begot Kenan, Enosh lived 815 years and had sons and daughters. So all the days of Enosh were 905 years, and he died. Kenan lived 70 years and begot Mahalalel. After he begot Mahalalel, Kenan lived 840 years, and he had sons and daughters. So all the days of Kenan were 910 years, and he died. Mahalalel lived 65 years and begot Jared. After he begot Jared, Mahalalel lived 830 years and had sons and daughters. So all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. Jared lived 162 years and begot Enoch. After he begot Enoch, Jared lived 800 years and had sons and daughters. So all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. Enoch lived 65 years and begot Methuselah. After he begot Methuselah, Enoch walked with God 300 years and had sons and daughters. So all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Methuselah lived 187 years and begot Lamech, a different Lamech, not the earlier Lamech. After he begot Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years and had sons and daughters. So all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years and had a son, and he called his name Noah, saying, "This one will comfort us concerning our work and the toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord has cursed." After he begot Noah, Lamech lived 595 years and had sons and daughters. So all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Chapter 6. Now it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves and of all whom they chose. The Lord said, "My spirit shall not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. And there were giants on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. And those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. And the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. So the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping thing and birds of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Okay, we're going to stop there real quick. So obviously we're talking about in the earlier, like verse 3 and 4 and 2 of the chapter 6, we're talking about the Nephilim. I really don't have a whole big doctrine on that. I chalk this up to Moses trying to explain to the people of Israel, the children of Israel, at the time, like the stories of the men of old, the stories of the great heroes like Gilgamesh and things like that. Those really would have been the Nephilim. These were people that were part angel, part man, which is not really how God designed it, is what I can tell, what I can see there. It's interesting study, but it's nothing that I do a doctrine or have a doctrine over, because I don't know what exactly I believe about all of that. I believe it was a bad thing. That's what I believe. But what I love here is in verse 8, it says, but Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. So all the things happen. God is sorry he has made man. Man's thought is continually wicked. That means everything he does is bad. It's terrible. But Noah found grace, found favor. Noah, God had mercy on Noah, basically. So we're in verse 9. This is the genealogy of Noah. But Noah found grace. I want to highlight that. This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a just man, perfect in his generations. And Noah walked with God, and Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Noah's testimony, the reason why Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord, is that Noah was a just man, perfect in his generation. And Noah walked with God. I'm going to highlight that too. That is Noah's testament. And if you're in a situation right now, and I'm believing this, I'm believing this for myself, I'm believing this for you. If you're in a situation right now and you're trying to figure out what can you do, it sums up really in this verse 9, that you need to be a just man, perfect in your generation, and that you walk with God. That's not a judgmental thought. That doesn't mean you have to judge everybody else. That means you are focused on what you're meant to do, which is to walk with God in all that he is and all that he has. That's it. That is it. 100% that is it. Verse 11. The earth was also corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. So God looked upon the earth, and indeed it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. Verse 13. And God said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood, make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and outside with pitch, and this is how you shall make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. You shall make a window for the ark, and you shall finish it to a cubit from above, and set the door of the ark in its side. You shall make it with a lower, second, and third deck. And behold, I myself am bringing flood waters on the earth to destroy from under heaven all flesh, in which is the breath of life. Everything that is on the earth shall die, but I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall go into the ark, your sons, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you. So when God says, I'll bring flood waters to destroy from under heaven all flesh, which is the breath of life. That breath of life he's referring to really is his breath of life. I'm just adjusting this here because it's getting a little dark outside now. The breath of life that he's referring to, too bright, is his breath of life. God gave man the breath of life. I'm sorry, guys. God gave man the breath of life, and the two became a living being. So that's the idea, is that that we are doing that type of breath of life, that God breathed that life. And now anything that has his breath, that praises the Lord, he's taking that away, because they're not using it to praise the Lord. They're using it for their own ends. They're using it only for evil. But I will establish my covenant with you. Okay, verse 19. And every living thing of all flesh you shall bring 2 of every sort into the ark. So keep them alive with you. And they shall be male and female, of the birds and after their kind, of animals after their kind, and of every creeping thing of the earth after its kind. 2 of every kind will come to you to keep them alive. And you shall take for yourself of all food that is eaten. You shall gather it to yourself, and it shall be food for you and for them. Thus Noah did according to all that God commanded him, so he did. So I find it interesting here And I just want to kind of even reiterate this even more in reading this, that Noah's big testament, his big claim to fame, was that he found favor with God. And if Noah found favor with God, it's because he followed God's laws that was in his heart. And then when God commanded him to do something, he did it. If you really want to level up in your faith, in your Christian walk, in your journey, and being obedient to Christ, whatever you want to level up in when it comes to a Christian life, the most important thing we can do is we can start doing what he says. It says in James that faith without works is dead, but God's gift is eternal life. No, that last part is a whole different verse. James says that faith without works is dead, which means that we have to start doing something. If we believe what God says, we need to start doing what God says. We need to start doing it. We need to start going after it. We need to start being a part of that. So, yeah, that is what we read today. And I look forward to talking with you tomorrow as we read Matthew chapter 3. So in the morning, and then we'll pick up the story and read 7, 8, and 9. I believe it's 7, 8, and 9 tomorrow evening. So may you continue to walk in the way of the Lord. May you believe him in what he has said, and may you find favor in his sight because you're doing what he wishes you to do. Thank you so much for being a part and listening, and I'll see you guys next time.